What's going on, beautiful people? It's your boy Davonte Green, and I'm here on a Monday morning to bring you some motivation, man, some insight. First off, let me say thank you to Keith Good News and Good News Radio for allowing me the opportunity to host this morning. This is a show that I listen to regularly on Monday mornings to get motivation and perspective to move through my weeks powerfully. So to have the opportunity to do that for y'all, it's a true blessing, man. So thank y'all again. I appreciate that. Like I said, my name is Davonte Green. I'm the founder and CEO of the Giants Den. The founder and CEO of the Giants Den. If you're not familiar with the Giants Den is, you can also check us out on Instagram at the Giants Den. And also our website it's been worked on, but you can check that out as well as thegiantsden.com. And that's a network of ambitious leaders, black men who have exhibited their leadership and their ambition. And I have a very strong network from that. And I want to bring insights, perspectives, tactics, some of the intention that has gone into me being able to establish such a network to be able to help you all as you are growing in your career, in your personal life. You're looking to add to your network. Hopefully I can share some tips with y'all. So as you're listening, whether you're listening live or you're listening to the recording, feel free to engage. Hop in the chat. You know, if you're on Instagram Live, hop on the live, and occasionally I'll be able to peek through and respond to y'all. But that makes it feel good, and I want to make sure y'all getting that value. So, without further ado, let's dive in. So, networking. What comes to your mind when you think of networking? Maybe going to an event. I'm gonna go to a happy hour with my coworkers, and that's me networking. Or I'm gonna go to a conference and I hopefully meet some people there. These are opportunities to network, to say the least, but there's so much intentionality that goes into it. So I'm gonna break that down. First, we're gonna start with, who do you know? Who do you know? It's important to reflect and remember those people that you met in your life, because when I asked you who you know, you probably thought about the people that you talk to every day. But the people, they could have been former coworkers, teammates, neighbors, former classmates, etc. You might not talk to them all the time, but you still have the opportunity to connect. You don't not know them, you're just not that close to them anymore. But these are people that you still have in your, or could be in your network as well. Who you know encompasses who you're presently, how able you are to easily and obviously connect with them. How late or how early can you call these folks? That's a way that I like to gauge my relationships. If we have a really, really good relationship, probably can call you late at night, you answer the phone for me. Probably can call you early in the morning, you answer the phone for me. For me, that's a report card on our relationship. Not everyone that you know fits that, but that's the goal somehow, right? How do we develop these relationships to where people will answer the call when they see your name? When you have a need or need support, they are happy and enthusiastic about doing it, right? That's how we're talking about our network today. So, quick quiz. If I were to challenge you to list the top 10 most powerful connections, could you write down their phone numbers and names by memory? Think about it. Not just any phone numbers, not just any names. The folks who have influence, who will be able to connect you with things that will level you up. Could you write down their names, phone numbers? Or let me add to that. If I offered you $100 for you to write for every name that had a phone number and email attached to it, for some of the most powerful connections in your network, would you be able to do that? Probably not. Right? Probably not, and that's okay. But after hearing this, I think that we should be better off. Right? So everyone has a circle of influence. I want to talk a little bit about the circle of influence. Whether you like it or not, whether you intentionally built this circle of influence or not, whether you agree or not, it doesn't matter. You have a circle of influence. And again, that could be family. For a lot of people, maybe not right now, but before COVID-19 struck and we were on lockdown, you're at work so often, your coworkers could be a center of your influence. Your employees could be a circle of influence. Classmates, neighbors, your sororities, fraternities, clubs, and groups. A lot of this drives our influence, what we think about. I know in the Giants Den, we've been talking a lot about fitness and investing. I know that the guys that I talk to on a regular basis are invested in their future, in their families, in their health, right? So I am being motivated on a different level because of my circle. If everybody is stepping their game up, there's an unspoken law that's what we're doing in here. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're doing. So I really want to like stress the importance of your circle of influence and say you could have a positive circle now. You can have a strong circle now, but there's nothing wrong with growing that circle. And there's nothing wrong with putting some language to how you've already been moving. Maybe you don't hear anything new today. Maybe I'm preaching to the choir. And that's fine. I know for me, I was able to navigate socially and develop networks, but I didn't have the language to put to it. I couldn't tell you what I was doing. I just knew that I was able to make connections with folks and they were leading to positive connections. So many people try to do everything on their own. Many people try to do everything on their own when they have connections. Like I mentioned, you have people that you used to work with that you don't talk to anymore, that you used to go to school with that you don't talk to anymore, that used to be a neighbor that you don't talk to anymore. Doesn't mean that you don't know them. That's low-hanging fruit to reconnect with them. In your lifetime, you've met thousands of people, and that's no exaggeration. And every person in your circle of influence have also met thousands of people. So when I talk about networking, it's literally leveraging the people in your network and the people in their network to establish a stronger one for yourself. I'm going to give tips before we get off this call. Before we get off the air, before we wrap up and everything, I'm going to give tips, 10 of them that I really want y'all to write down and implement. If y'all want to give me feedback on how they worked out for y'all, you can always hit me up. My personal Instagram is at @dgreen_ambition. It's always been that because I've always been ambitious. You know what I mean? I hold pride in that. But before we get there, I want to talk a little bit more about the sort of the influence that we have and the opportunity we have right in front of us to connect with people. One thing that you may have heard before is the 6 degrees of separation. Sounds crazy. Sound like the 6 degrees of separation says that you can get in contact with anybody. You're just 6 degrees away from getting in contact with anybody. Sounds like a fairy tale. I did it. You don't probably even need an entire 6. You're probably not even separated by 6 degrees from people that you really want to have in your network. Maybe it's 3 degrees, but you're scared to make the phone call to the person that knows the person that knows the person. Let me say that again. 6 degrees of separation. It's a real thing. It's not just this saying that's been said. So it sounds crazy, but you can literally get in contact with anyone with 6 successful phone calls. Right? And you don't have to know. Let me give an example. So I have been establishing this network, the Giants Den. When it first started, man, like I was looking at myself trying to see like, okay, what do I have to offer? You know, like I'm around all these amazing people. They're doing great things, but what do I have to offer? At the time, I believe I was in recruitment for a nonprofit organization. I was able to move through very, very smoothly, all the way up to the regional recruitment director of that organization. I noticed that I had leveraged my relationships in order to get me there, right? I wasn't the smartest. I wasn't even the hardest working, but I had the best relationships. And I no longer work there, but I do want to say that I think that people may value the right thing, right? But in the wrong, how can I say it? So you may think that working hard, showing up on time is going to do the job. That's a huge part of the job. I think you should do that. But you are sleeping and you're seriously mistaken if you don't understand the importance of relationships. The executive director, we best friends. What are we talking about? The people who doing the hiring, we friends. We've been talking. Before I even knew that this job was an opportunity, I had already been building relationships. And now people who've been working hard, showing up on time, not building relationships, were looking at me like, man, how you get it? Because I get it. because I understand that there's a much larger game to be played out here. People are people, right? So I don't want to get stuck too much in that, but I do want to say, don't sleep on relationships. You say I'm not a people person. Well, you sleeping. You are a people person. You a people. You a people person. So 6 degrees of separation of the importance of leveraging your network that you already have, or let's say identifying your network that you already have. When you are looking at your network, let's say you sit down and you pull out a pen and paper and you say, okay, I know this person, I know that person. You write down the names, the phone numbers, what they do after you've already established what it is that you do and the value that you bring. And you come up with a pretty nice list that you feel confident about. What do you do with that? It's not just to figure out who's in your network so that you can leverage them and try to use them to climb this ladder. Although that is a part of it. And I would be remiss if I act like it wasn't. I think we get stuck in this politically correct mindset all the time, a lot of times, that we forget the nature of the laws of society, in a sense, right? You can wear what you want, show up how you want to show up. Nobody's going to judge you. False. They are. I mean, accept me for being me. I do accept you for being you. I just don't like the you that you presented. You know what I mean? It's a lot of different things. So without too much, I want to jump into these 10 pieces. Well, not before we get there. Like I said, besides leveraging your network to grow your connections, you must rely on yourself to make connections as well. And you're not using your relationships as just stepping stones. If I were to reach out to Keith and say, hey, Keith, which I've done before a number of times. Hey, Keith, this is one guy over here. I love the way he's moving. I think that he'd be a great addition to what I'm trying to do. Is there a way that you can make that introduction? So one thing that's really important is me and Keith's relationship. Because Keith is about to introduce me to this person who's moving in a way that has caught my attention. That means clearly they've been doing something right. That's a serious connection for Keith. He just can't put anybody, he can't put his name and vouch for anybody when making connections, because now he'll mess up his network. Right? So it says a lot about the relationship that Keith and I have, the trust that Keith and I have, for him to be able to like invite me on this show or to introduce me to one of his people in his network. And so that's really important. But through doing that, me and Keith are strengthening our relationship. When you start to communicate with your network, and from that, you develop a stronger, deeper network with other folks. You are building trust with everybody who's already in your circle, which is really, really important. So here are a few tips that I have used as I've navigated my career in the nonprofit world, as well as building an organization composed of well-respected and ambitious black men. And I want y'all to understand, in this network, there are politicians, there are military officials, there are nonprofit professionals, there are engineers, we have lawyers, we have, they're the mix of everything, communication, folks who are entertainment, radio, obviously. We have a deep network, folks who have 6 PhDs. We had 6 PhDs in a room one night. And here I am, kid from Inglewood, grew up sleeping on everybody's floor. What I used to have, keep spaghetti mac. We was in the kitchen just making up stuff because, we was in the kitchen just making up stuff based off of what we had in the covers. I had spaghetti mac, so when I tell you I don't come from a silver spoon, I don't come from, people putting me in the right spots to make connections. I had to intentionally build my network on my own. And like I said, a lot of it was based off of who I am as a person. And I think that's the bulk of it. But it's also the intentional part that comes with establishing a network. So I'm going to run through some of my 10 tips. So get a pen, get a paper, get your phone. You can use the notes on there. And if something connects with you, go ahead and throw it in the chat. So the first one, be friendly first and everything else will fall in place. First one, be friendly first and everything else will fall into place. People do business with people they like and people they trust. People who smile are 100 times more attractive than people who don't. Smiling not only sets the tone for others, it's the reflection you give. It's a reflection you give them and who you are and how you think. Sometimes you don't got to say anything. We know you can feel positive energy in the space. You can feel negative energy in the space. On the phone call, you can feel somebody smiling on a phone call. Text messages, using emojis, whatever it may be. Be friendly first and everything falls into place. People want to work and do business with people who they get along with. Number 2, project your self-image in a way that breeds confidence in others. Not just confidence in you, it breeds confidence in others. Your handshake is an indicator of your self-image. So is the way you dress. Everything from your hair to your shoes. Your projected self-image creates your first impression. And although first impressions are not always correct, they still linger in our minds until that impression is corrected. So again, number 2, project your self-image in a way that breeds confidence in others. Number 3 on the list, your ability to look someone in the eye as you speak is a telltale sign of your own self-respect. Now, let me say, it might feel uncomfortable when you're practicing this, right? Just to deviate a little bit, back in the day, we heard was Kevin Trudeau, and he would talk about the teachability index. And the first thing, when you're learning something, you're unconsciously incompetent. Let's say you're tying your shoes, you learn how to just use driving. And I'm gonna breeze through this because this ain't the point. Right? So the first thing, when you're driving, when you're a kid, you don't even know that you don't know how to drive. Then you become a teenager, you know that you don't know how to drive, but now you are aware. So you went from not being aware to being aware that you don't know how to do something, right? So I'm aware that I don't know how to drive. And then you learn how to drive. You start learning how to drive. But when you first start learning how to drive, you check 2 and 10. You check your rear view, your side view mirrors. You got your seatbelt on. And so you then became aware of the things that you were taught. So when you're doing them, you still are very aware of them. And then now, for most of us listening, you hop in the car, you don't even think about those things, but you still do them. Right? So I want to say that when you're looking at someone in the eyes, it may be uncomfortable at first. When you're really trying to focus on having a firm handshake, it may be uncomfortable at first. But at some point, it'll just be second nature, just like driving. So remember, look someone in the eye. It's a telltale sign of your own self-respect. Number 4, positive attitudes attract positive responses. Positive attitude attracts positive responses. If you do a study in your own life, just in your mind right now. Think about people who always complain, people who are negative, people who have come into a space with negative assumptions of that space. Oh, I don't like this space. I don't like. And think about the experience that they usually have. More than likely, it's a negative experience. More than likely, people have something to say about them. Somebody don't like them. Guess who don't have that happen? Me. And that's not to brag, that's not to boast and say that I'm a perfect being, but I come into spaces with positive intentions. I carry my atmosphere with me. And if somebody was to engage with me for any matter of time, they will feel this atmosphere. So I don't go a lot of spaces with negative intentions or negative expectations. Your positive attitude attracts positive responses. And if you're just now joining us, I just want to say again, this is Davonte Green here hosting this morning, Monday morning, and we're talking about networking. And we are on lesson number 5 right now. So with the 4 lessons, hopefully you got those written down. Just to recap, with the first 4 were: be friendly first and everything else will fall into place. Number 2, project your self-image in a way that breeds confidence in others. Number 3, your ability to look someone in the eye as you speak is a telltale sign to them of your own self-respect. Number 4, we just covered positive attitudes attract positive responses. Now we got 10 of these, so I'm gonna go through the next 6. Hopefully you're still taking notes. Number 5, the less you focus on your motive to meet, the more likely it is that the connection will be successful. Let me break that down. Say I'm meeting with someone who I want to do business with, and we decide to go to Sip and Sonder over here in Inglewood off Market Street. Make sure y'all check them out. Small black owned business where I take a lot of my meetings from. You go over here, you meet with somebody, and the goal is to solicit, let's say, or to get them to purchase a product you have, or to become a business partner, whatever it might be. But if your focus is to almost make a sale, you won't have a genuine connection. If your focus is to get to know these people and just be a human with them and share your human experience, I guarantee you get a lot further. Not that you are now blind to what your intention was on the meeting, but if you allow that the purpose of the meeting to be the priority, in a sense, when you're trying to make a connection as well. And keep in mind that connection can lead to a lot more than just that one interaction, whatever little transaction you got planned. So again, the less you focus on your motive to meet, the more likely that connection will be successful. That means that the conversation talks a little bit about family or sports or interests, because we know the quicker that you can find the commonality between you and someone else, the quicker connection can be made, the quicker that barrier comes down. So don't feel like you're deviating from the purpose just because you haven't closed the deal, in a sense. All right. So that was number 5. The less you focus on the motive to meet, the more likely it is that the connection will be successful. Number 6. This goes hand in hand with number 5. Take a genuine interest in other people before you ask them to take a genuine interest in you. What does this mean? Are we only do we have a transactional relationship where we're only talking when it is time for me to do something for you? When we're talking, are you listening? Are you giving thoughtful responses based off of what someone was sharing, or you've been waiting for your own time to talk? When do people hear from you? Do you send out birthday texts? Shout out to Keith Good News, shot me $31 for my birthday on my 31st. You know what I'm saying? And we've been friends for since 15 years, half our lives, and we are still developing our relationship. And it looking like that did wonders. You know what I mean? So if Keith, based off of that, and this is my best friend, so this may not be the best analogy, but based off of that, I'm more likely to do things that Keith needs. Keith helped me to celebrate my birthday. So you got to think about really showing genuine interest in people. Make your friends before you need them. Write this down. It's not even on my notes. Make your friends before you need them, because once you need them, it'll be too late. Make your friends before you. So that means that sometimes you don't have a motive. You don't know how this person is going to benefit you. You don't know what jewels this person is going to bring, what connection they're going to bring, what value they're going to bring. But you're also not scoping people for a specific place in your network, right? Make your friends before you need them, because once you need them, it'll be too late, and you'll come across as ingenuine, right? And you can make friends anywhere, in a grocery store, so that was number 6. Take a genuine interest in other people before you ask them to take a genuine interest in you. Number 7, I'm gonna start speeding up a little bit. The higher up the ladder you go, the more cautious people will be of your advances. Everyone wants powerful connections, but do powerful people want connections with you? Let me say that again. The higher up the ladder you go, this is number 7. So the higher up the ladder you go, the more cautious people will be of your advances. Everyone wants powerful connections, but the powerful want to be connected with you. Now let's talk about that. Let's talk about it. Because we be like, oh man, I just got to meet Jay-Z. Why do Jay-Z want to meet you? Not that he doesn't, not that you don't have anything to offer, because I'm quite sure you do. But you have to understand that when you reach a certain level of success or a position in society, everybody's coming at you for something. And it's hard to tell who's who. And this is why it's important that you take a genuine interest in people before they can take a genuine interest in you. But you also need to be working on yourself and making sure that you have something of value to offer that's recognizable to the marketplace before you even expect someone to have a conversation with you. If right now you say, hey, Davonte, I need you to connect me with somebody, man, like again, the Giants Den, I have a very strong network and it's continuously growing. Those guys who I have a network with, they also have a network and we're continuously growing that. But there's some serious guys in here. So let's say you want to be connected. I shared a number with you. I put a meeting on the books for y'all. You ain't got nothing to talk about. Your follow through is weak. Now my name is on that. So you can get in the door, but can you really have a conversation once you in there? Can you work? You know what I mean? So it's still up to you to work that. So again, the higher up the ladder you go, the more cautious people will be of your advances. Everyone wants powerful connections, but do the powerful want to be connected with you? The only way they respond to that is to make sure that you're working on yourself, establishing that value. Number 8, people judge you by the action that you take or don't take. Whether they say something or not, I'm guilty of it. And it's not judging people. No, it is judging people. Let's again, we keeping it 100. We keeping it all the way 100. It is judging people. People judge you, whether they say something or not. You're being judged continuously. Even by your family right now in your house, you're being judged. You know what I'm saying? So when you tell somebody you're going to do something, you make promises, you share your dreams. And, you know, all of us, sometimes we share things that may not come into fruition. But we too damn old for that now. So when you are passionate about something, you sharing information about how you about to go after it, and then they see you ain't went after nothing, trust down. They say something or not, whether they say something or not is not the point. They don't trust you as much because they saw you not follow through on what you said you will follow through on. All right, so that's number 8. People judge you by the action that you take or don't take. How I've been able to really establish my position in life right now, I was 315 pounds, 49% body fat. The first 90 days, I didn't even hit the gym. I didn't post nothing on social media. I wanted to prove to myself that I was about this gym action, about this health life, before I invited anybody else in on it. And here we are almost 2 years later. You know what I mean? And the other day I just did a 31-mile bike ride. People respond to me. They trust me because they see me demonstrate my commitments to myself. And I think that's really important. Number 9, provide more value than you expect in return. When you hit somebody up, let's say you are at work. Let's use work. I use a lot of entrepreneurship stuff, but let's use work. And you're trying to make a connection with someone who is of a higher position than you. You don't shoot that email and say, hey, I need this from you. You shoot that email and say, hey, what can I do for you? Hey, let me take you to lunch. I went to lunch. I was applying for the regional recruitment director role last year or whatnot. And before, I knew I was in a good position to get it. But again, I'm good friends with the executive director of the entire organization. I invite her to lunch. When a bill comes, I pay. She makes probably 4 times more than me. I pay. Me and her are still friends to this day. Anything I need, I got it. And I got that position, by the way. Number 10, your present reputation determines your fate. Your present reputation determines your fate. What your reputation is today determines the near future of your success. Not that you can't change that reputation, but when you're doing the things that we already talked about from 1 through 9, that is what's helping to establish your reputation. Those smiles, following through on your commitments, looking people in the eye, being mindful of your of the impression that you give off. This is what establishes your reputation. So people talk about you, whether you notice or not, in whatever way they want when you're not around. Let's hope that that's a positive thing. I'm gonna leave y'all with a bonus. It's the last one I'm gonna leave y'all with. It's a bonus. And the most important, talk real, act real, be real, and you will find that others will do the same in return. I'm so much myself that I give people no choice but to be themselves, and that's when the most genuine connections are made. That's 1 through 10, y'all. It's been an amazing morning. Again, I'm grateful for being here. Glad that y'all tuned in. Hopefully, I left y'all with some value. Shout out to Keith Good News for the opportunity to have me on here. Shout out to y'all for being up on a Monday, seeking value. And hope to see y'all out in the world, man. Hit me up again at dgreen_ambition. Y'all can also follow the Giants Den at the Giants_den on Instagram as well. And you check us out on our website, thegiantsden.com. It's under construction, doing some changes, but it's still available. You can get the good information on there. Until next time, y'all, be blessed.
Peace.